Hello everyone, Razorblade Mango here, and today I am here with Richard, aka the richest man, and we are going to be talking about Bayonetta 3. So, first of all, Richard, how are you doing today, by the way?
I mean, just a little note, I am sick, so if I sound
Yeah.
off, it's because of that. And I mean, I did just come back from New York. Beautiful city, by the way, you guys. You guys should all go visit it. Go to the Nintendo World Store as well. Beautiful store.
I was looking
Um,
at that Oreo store that you sent me pictures of. That shit looked
oh,
cool.
that's in New Jersey.
Oh,
You
that's
have to,
right. That's in New Jersey.
yeah, because I was on the border between New Jersey and New York.
Hmm.
So on the last day, I didn't want to go to New York City because it's a bit of walking, and because I had to depend on a bus to get back, it would have been a huge hassle for me
Mm-hmm.
to get back to the airport. I just decided just go to New Jersey to be safe.
Yeah.
And so I went to the American Dream Mall and I saw that Oreo cafe, and they even had Mr. Beast Burger was there too. Like the very first official restaurant, it was there.
Oh, really? That's where it
Yeah,
is?
yeah, that's where it's at. I wanted to
Ah.
eat in there, but the thing
Okay.
was, like, I ate breakfast extremely late, and I didn't wanna eat a burger for breakfast because I had brunch, so
Ah. See, they claim it's claimed that there's a Mr. Beast burger near me, but for some reason I can never get the app to work, or when it does work, the place that supposedly Mr. Beast burger is operating out of, it won't accept any orders. So I've basically given up hope on ever trying a Mr. Beast burger, at least for the time being. I'm sure one day I'll be able to try it and see what all
yeah,
the hype was about, but
no, yeah,
for now I'm screwed.
no, yeah, same.
So this video is going to be about Bayonetta 3. There will be full-on spoilers for this video, so if you have not played Bayonetta 3, or don't, I don't know, I guess if you don't if you haven't played Bayonetta 3 and don't want to be spoiled, I mean it's a given. Please don't watch this. We don't want to spoil it for you, despite what we're about to talk about with
Or
it.
the or the first 2 games, because there's a high chance
Yes,
we're gonna be mentioning those
good
2,
point.
'cause
That's a good point. Yeah, we will be talking about. I assume we're going to bring up points from the first and second game as well. So if you haven't played the Bayonetta trilogy and don't want anything spoiled for
don't
you, this video is not for you.
don't you
So,
dare call it a trilogy, man.
well, it is a trilogy. I mean, it technically is a trilogy. I have to. I'm sorry. This is not. It's not my decision. If it was my decision, it would be a duology with just Bayonetta 1 and 2. But I have to have this be the third. It's a trilogy. I'm sorry. It's not my decision. I didn't make that choice.
Oh, boy.
So that should give you a little sneak peek of what we thought of Bayonetta 3. Before we get into, so I have it broken down because the thing that I want to start off with right off the bat is that, besides the spoiler warning, is that I wanted to talk about the story and writing last, because I think that's the thing you and I are going to get into the most.
That is true, yeah, yeah.
So I first want to talk about, I want to ask you, like, what is our history with Bayonetta as far as a franchise? Because
Okay.
I think our histories with them are different, because you probably had more experience with it than I did for a time being, because I had only played the first one fully uh
Mhm.
before the sequel got announced, before 3 got announced.
Okay. Yeah, well, mine is like this. Okay, so I was actually originally gonna buy I was actually gonna gift you at least the first game on
Mhm.
Switch one time, but unfortunately I couldn't give you the gift. Like, I don't know why, it wouldn't let me.
Hmm.
So I was forced to keep it, and then I guess after beating it, I just bought Bayonetta 2 because it was discounted immediately.
Mhm.
It gets discounted immediately if you buy one of them.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's how I got into it. I just played them. The first, I was like, "Oh shit, this game's badass. It's action based." I was like, "I'm loving this game." And then I get to Bayonetta 2, and my mind was blown away. I was like, "Oh shit, this is badass! Like, it's amazing."
When it comes to Bayonetta, I played the first game back on the PS3. And back then I remember I like really liked the game. And it wasn't until about a month before Bayonetta 3 came out that I finally went back to the first Bayonetta because I have it on PC. And I got it on PC, I think, for about $3 or $4, something crazy cheap like that. And I played it, and uh, I have my issues with the first Bayonetta. I think there are elements of it that I flat out just dislike, and I'm very glad they never brought them back for the sequel. Like those stupid insta-death quick time events. I can't stand those. I don't like a lot of the gimmicky sections, like the terrible highway section. I'm not a fan of the platforming. It just feels off compared to the second game.
What
Um,
shit with the bosses?
I don't mind some of the bosses, as most of them I'm like, they're eh. I'm not really crazy about quite a few of them, but there are some really great bosses in Bayonetta 1, especially the fights against John. I think with me with Bayonetta, my favorite fights with this series are the ones where it's like mano a mano, you fighting another person, like a normal sized person, and the really crazy uh timing you gotta nail in order to dodge their attacks and counter attack and activate the witch time and all that. Like, I love that kind of stuff. I think one-on-one fights against people is when Bayonetta's combat really shines for me.
Oh yeah.
And I really liked those fights in 1. I love the fights like that in 2. And speaking of 2, I love Bayonetta 2. I think Bayonetta 2 is easily the best one in the series. Like,
No, I
hands down
agree.
for me, it's the best one. It
I
has the
agree.
best story, it has the best art style, it has the best music, it has the best gameplay, I has the best bosses. I love Bayonetta 2.
No, I agree. I mean, to be fair, I was actually gonna going back to Bayonetta 1 really quick.
Hmm.
I mean, when I first played it, I mean, something didn't wasn't right with me because remember how I was telling you I kept getting like stone
Yeah.
after each level, like
Hmm.
something was up. Like I was like maybe I was doing something wrong. And then I finally figured out how to like I guess like change the weapons on my heels. And apparently and even after changing my weapons, it didn't really do it. It helped a little, but it didn't like do much
Hmm.
in terms of the difficulty. I was still getting like stone on all the levels, so it was still pretty like difficult. I mean, it's like you said when we were talking, you told me that the witch time is a bit more stricter in the first one. So
Yeah.
that
It
that that was probably why. And then Bayonetta 2, like it was much more easier to go through because I guess they fixed it. They made the window gap bigger for witch time.
I think Bayonetta 2, one of its biggest strengths compared to 1 is also that it's visually easier to read as far as where you are, what the monsters are doing, when the attacks come in. Because if you go back and play Bayonetta 1 after playing 2, the colors are really drab and gray and muted. It's color wise, it's not a very nice looking game in my opinion compared to 2. It's very drab looking. And a lot of the combat kind of blurs together for me visually because of the colors. And with 2, there's a lot more contrast between Bayonetta on screen and her outfit and the color around her attacks and then what everyone else is doing. I just find Bayonetta 2 a lot more visually easy to read as far as when I need to activate witch time, when I need to do certain attacks, and to me I just find Bayonetta 2 to be a much better experience, much more fun game compared to 1. But 1 I think is, as far as how it portrays Bayonetta as a character, I think 1 is the best out of the bunch because I like her portrayal the most in 1. It's the one that has the most edge to it. as far as her sexuality and the nudity and the swearing and all that. And I find one to just be, as far as the dialogue and her character, I find that to be probably the strongest. Bayonetta 2 is not that far behind it, but I do like that there's a more of an edgy aspect to Bayonetta compared to later games, especially 3. I guess before we start getting like in depth into Bayonetta 3, I want to open the floor to you to give just some quick, like if you were to sum up your thoughts about Bayonetta 3 in just a few minutes and as spoiler free as you possibly can, how would that go? What would you say?
Gameplay wise, while it's not perfect, it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Story, story fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying that. There are moments in the story that the story does have its moments.
Yeah.
There are some like cool moments, even like some humor,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, the way it's told, the pacing, it's so trash. I can't believe it. I'm saying.
Yeah. This is one of the most disappointing games I've played since I started the channel. It's one of the most disappointing games I've ever played in my life, because I actively rooted for this game to be good, because
Yeah.
Bayonetta is one of those franchises that I feel like has never gotten the financial success it deserves. And I think that just has to do with, I don't exactly know why it wasn't like a big success on, the first one for Sega, because Sega didn't really want to do 2 without some kind of outside help or some other kind of backing. And Nintendo of all companies, Nintendo, the House of Mario, came in and said, "Yeah, we'll co-finance another game in this franchise that features a half-naked sexy witch and that swears a lot and makes a lot of sexual innuendos. Sure, why not?" And then 2 ended up not selling all that great because it was stuck on the Wii U, which unfortunately was one of the stipulations with it being co-funded by Nintendo. So I really wanted Bayonetta to be great, and I am just, this is going to be a running theme with the final few games that I talk about for the channel this year, but I'm dumbfounded by the critic scores for this. Like, I know subjectivity is a thing, I get it, but I especially raise my eyebrows at any critic that's giving this thing a 9 or a 10, especially a 10. I would argue that this game is objectively not a 9 or a 10. I don't know what Nintendo Life's critic was thinking when they gave this a 10 out of 10.
I'm still shocked. Okay, yeah, I'm shocked about that too. I'm like, this is not a 9 or a 10.
No,
No,
it's not. And then
it's like a 7 or an 8, one of those two.
That's being generous for me.
I'm sorry, but the gameplay, like I told you, it's not perfect, but I had fun with the gameplay. I just the gameplay wise, it's very fun, even though it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably the only saving factor for me. But but overall, like, I still am like disappointed with it. I mean, I don't hate the game. I'm just like,
no.
I'm just like
Hate's too strong a word.
I'm just like disappointed.
Yeah. For me, this was Platinum's like last chance to prove to me that they've still got it, and they dropped the ball pretty hard for me, because I liked Platinum back in the day. Like, I like Vanquish a lot. I love Bayonetta 2. I respect Bayonetta, even though I'm not really crazy about the first game. But everything else they've ever done, that I've played, has either been bad, or I don't blame its success on or I don't like credit Platinum with a game's success. Something like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, or Nier Automata. Nier Automata particularly, I think that game really would not have the respect and acclaim that it does without Square Enix. You know, Yoko Taro, the music, none of that really has to do with Platinum. That's Square Enix. So I'm thinking, okay, I want to see something from Platinum that is going to really impress me. And if there was one thing that was going to do it, it was going to be Bayonetta 3. And I came away just thoroughly unimpressed. And I came away so unimpressed that it made me question. This is going to sound like I'm exaggerating, but it's absolutely true. I was so unimpressed by this game that it made me question my excitement for the art form of video games itself. Like, I kept thinking, like, while I was playing it, I just kept thinking, what in the hell am I doing with my life playing this thing? Like, is this really all video games are creatively capable of now? Like, yes, it artistically, as far as the big set pieces, it's big. It's creative. I get it, but it's so unimpressive and mediocre in so many areas that I felt like I was being gaslit reading a lot of these reviews.
Recently, you know, like we were talking earlier, how Pokemon just came out, Scarlet and Violet,
Yeah.
and some people were, I don't know why, they were like blaming the Switch hardware for that one, for why it's not consistent.
I mean, it might be.
Mario Odyssey's running
Yes,
it.
like Mario Odyssey is a much artistically richer game than Bayonetta 3 or Pokemon, and that can run at like a rock solid 60 frames. Mario Kart runs at 60. I'm pretty sure all these like sports games run at 60. And again, like, it's different because I understand the argument that it's different because Bayonetta 3 is not, you know, it a lot more activity is going on screen compared to those Mario games. I get it, but I also look at Bayonetta 2 and I go, okay, well, that ran really well at mostly 60 frames, even handheld. So what's the excuse? Why is this like locked at like an inconsistent 30 when Bayonetta 2 I think looks better visually and it runs at 60?
And
I don't get it.
and I'm just gonna say this: if they can't even make a game run consistently, like at least, I don't know, 60 or like even like 30, if that's what they're forced to because of the Switch hardware, it's like, why are you even making this then? I'd rather just wait until next gen hardware to
Yeah.
play.
Well, I think there's been a lot of debate about 30 frames versus 60. I don't know why, because I think 60 is just objectively much better than 30. Like, it just feels better to play a video game that's at 60 than 30. That's just a fact. I'm sorry. But I can understand it when a slower game is locked at 30, especially if it's on weaker hardware, like Pokemon. If it's locked at 30, it's not a big deal because you're not like fucking fighting giant monsters at like breakneck speed. It's not like Animal Crossing runs at 30 and that's like a super chill, relaxing game. It's not a big deal that runs at 30. But when you have something like Bayonetta that relies on timing, like precise timing, especially on harder difficulties, and keeping your eye on the screen of like how different enemies and all that, you need a consistent frame rate. It just makes the game feel a lot better. And it just makes you as a player play better because you are able to get a clear visual idea of what's going on and the milliseconds of what it takes, the microseconds of when you have to dodge something. Like, it matters, especially if you're playing on, like I said, hard difficulty. But the fact that they couldn't even do that for this game, it is worth calling it out because it just makes me wonder, okay, why didn't you just scale? Why didn't you just scale this down a little bit so it could run at 60? Or why didn't you just wait, like you said, until there's new hardware? I think the game, even occasionally, like the way it looks, and they're trying to push like these new visuals. I think the game just looks really ugly at some points. I think the texture work is really bad. It's pixelated a lot of the time because it's trying its best to contain this behemoth at like an inconsistent 30 frames. It just looks ugly. And I played this on handheld mode a lot because on docked, I tried playing this on docked and it did not feel right.
Oh, I mean, I played it on docked, mostly.
I just couldn't get into it on docked. There's something off about it. And I think it has to do with just the frame rate and how inconsistent it was.
But because we're talking in textures, I will bring up. So you know the China world?
The ancient China, yeah.
Yeah, there was a part where I don't know. There was like a texture, like there was like a. It showed like a bridge in front of me, like a
Hmm.
destroyed bridge. I thought I could walk or land on it. So I
Okay.
try to go on top of it,
Hmm.
and then I just fall right through it. And I was like, "What the what?" I'm like, "What?" And then so I had to transform into like a bird or a crow
Hmm.
just to like travel like right across because it was like a huge gap. And
Yeah.
then I think I had to restart it that area, so I did. I don't remember, but I remember when I went back or something, that bridge, that area was gone. The one that I was trying to
Huh.
land on. I'm like, "What the holy crap."
Weird. See, the thing is, I don't fully blame Platinum for this because of the Switch's increasingly obvious limitations throughout the years. Like the longer they've gone on without releasing some kind of upgraded model for the Switch that goes beyond having an OLED screen, something that needs a little bit a lot beefier hardware. I I think a lot of this has to do with just the Switch being what it is, but I also think just what Platinum was trying to do with this game, it came at a cost, and I'm not sure the cost really was worth it in the end for like what they were trying to do with the gameplay stuff, like the new like the Demon Slave mechanic, which we'll get into in a while. But I was also disappointed as far as the like I audio wise. I don't think that any of the voice acting is really that bad. I think Jennifer Hale does a very good job as Bayonetta. Like I think I would have realized it eventually that it was a different voice actress, but if I had never known that that Jennifer Hale had taken over vocal duties as Bayonetta, I don't think I would have realized it for a long time playing the game.
Yeah, I couldn't tell the difference
Yeah,
throughout
she's
the entire
very
time.
good. Very,
Yeah.
very good mimic of Helena Taylor.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So, and then also as far as the music, I think Bayonetta 1 and 2 have very good soundtracks, especially 2, but I was so disappointed with the music in this one. A lot of it just did not do anything for me, especially the song, the remix of the song that they use for like cuz they have the obvious theme of using like different songs with moon in the title. You got, Fly Me to the Moon, which is a brilliant cover of it in the first Bayonetta. You have Moon River, which again, another brilliant cover in Bayonetta 2. And then with this one, you got Moonlight Serenade, and it's just not as good as nowhere near as good as I think Fly Me to the Moon or Moon River are. It just doesn't really get me hyped up compared to those two.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, since we're on the topic of music, I can't even remember like much of the music from 3. Like
Neither can I. No.
the music's like it's like forgettable. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember I like the China theme. I remember that, but I don't remember how it
Yeah.
went.
But it sounds like, you know, like they're using like, typical Chinese instruments to go along with it. But
Yeah.
there's no melody to a lot of these. I think the only ones that really stand out to me, and I don't even think they're great, are the kaiju theme and Viola's theme, which I think those two are fine. Like they stood out to me amongst all this mediocrity, but it just did not do. I was so unimpressed with the music in this
I
one.
thought Viola's theme was all right. I didn't think it was amazing or anything.
It sounded almost like V's theme from Devil May Cry 5.
That's the
Um,
thing. I've never played Devil May Cry.
See, I think you would really like Devil May Cry 5, and you don't even need to play the first four to really get into Devil May Cry 5. going back to what I mentioned prior, which was the demon slave mechanic. I think I think it's a good idea. I just think it's executed poorly because one, it tanks the frame rate whenever it happens, and two, it just becomes extremely visually noisy to the point where I can't even tell what's happening sometimes when I start using all these demons. Like I just, especially when you summon like Madame Butterfly or the Spider or Gamora, and you're just standing there as Bayonetta and you can't attack. It's just because the camera as well is like so close to Bayonetta sometimes because of what's going on, and then it does a bad job of tracking all these different enemies, and then you have the demons on top of it as well. It just becomes a visual nightmare. It's just visual diarrhea. I don't even know what's happening. And it just becomes all pixelated and blotchy, and it just, I don't like using the demon slave mechanic because it's a good idea, but I think the game over relies on it too, because a lot of these bosses are simply just not fun to fight without summoning the demon slave. And summoning the demon slave, it feels like you're kind of just, I don't know, it feels almost like the game is like forcing you to use it. It's either use this demon slave mechanic and have like visual diarrhea on the screen, or whittle away at this boss's health using just Bayonetta, but it's going to take a way, way, way longer time
See,
than it
no,
normally would.
yeah, see, no, that wasn't really my big issue. I mean, I didn't have much of an issue with the demon slave thing.
Hmm.
I did have one concern about it though. It's like a minor one, but there were times when like I would fight like smaller enemies, and
Hmm.
if I just bring out this, I don't know, this giant demon slave, I just feel like it was gonna make everything too easy.
Yeah, exactly.
That was like probably like my problem with it.
This
I
was
don't
by
know.
far the easiest game for me because of that demon slave mechanic.
Oh, don't get me started with easy. Don't get me started with easy. Okay.
No, go for it. If you got something to say about the difficulty, go for it.
Okay. It was gonna be Viola
That's actually
related.
what I wanted to get into next, so that's perfect. You read my mind on
Okay.
that. Go for
Oh
it.
my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna say this right now. Okay. Viola's gameplay. Gosh damn it. Like when I played it, like it's not that it's bad, but it's fuck it. Nah, it sucks. It sucks.
It's off.
It's like Viola. It's weird. Like when she's attacking, she's fine. But holy crap, her wish time.
Yeah.
I never got used to it. I never got used to it, especially since you only use her like maybe 3 to 4 times, and
Really? That's all you use her for? Because it felt like you use her like quite a bit throughout this game.
I mean I don't remember. I mean, because I counted the amount of times I've used her, like
Oh,
three,
okay.
four, and I was like,
Mm.
every time I had to use her, I wasn't like very excited to use her
No, neither was I.
because like I'm so used to using Bayonetta most of the time because I played 1 and 2, and then I'm using her most of the time in 3,
Hmm.
and then the times when I had to use Viola because there's been like a gap since the last time I used her
Yeah.
between levels. I can never get used to her, or I can never just even get any of her combos down at all either because she plays so much differently, and just the blocking to activate witch time, you have to like time it very perfectly.
Hmm.
I could not do it, and because of that, like some of the challenges that I was trying to finish
Oh
up,
my god, some of those
couldn't
with Viola. Oh.
I couldn't. It was extremely difficult for me to finish it,
Yeah.
and it kind of makes it like very. It like makes it like it just feels like, I guess, impossible to even get platinum on those challenges.
I'm sure it's possible, but you have to just beat your head against the wall until it breaks, until you so you
That
can do it.
well, that or you just practice in the practice
I
area.
guess, but again, like if Viola's not fun to play as, why bother practicing it?
that's the thing. I didn't like playing as her.
No,
I I didn't like it. I was
I
just
didn't
like,
mind her. I'll say I didn't mind her against smaller enemies. Like if it's a room full of the smaller homunculi, I didn't mind it. But when they start throwing out the big enemies against her, something is not tuned right with her witch time. There's something that is just not. It doesn't feel quite right when you are blocking against bigger enemies. And again, I don't know if that this has to do with the inconsistent frame rate or the fact that maybe there's something off about the animation of the big homunculi when it collides with Viola's witch time activating block. I don't quite know what it is, but it never felt like it was tuned properly for big enemies. It felt okay for smaller ones, and even then, I would have preferred Bayonetta's dodge mechanic. I greatly just prefer Bayonetta's gameplay in general, but that's the risk that you run when you start introducing a new character in a series where there's already an established main character with an iconic moveset, is that you run the risk of pissing off a subset of people that don't like this new person's gameplay, and yet you have to have this person in the game enough to justify creating an all new moveset, an all new character, all new animations for it. So they're taking a big gamble with it, and unfortunately, I just don't think it paid off having Viola there. I don't find her really all that interesting as a character. I don't. And we'll get to that later, but I
yeah,
don't find her really all that interesting gameplay wise, except in certain sequences that I don't mind. Again, against smaller enemies, but I would have rather Viola just not be here at all, and if they had just given those levels to Bayonetta,
oh
or
yeah.
or or give some of these levels to the Bayonetta the multiverse Bayonettas, especially the one that uses the spider. I would have anytime we didn't have access to that spider, I was sad because I loved that spider, the Spider-Man shit you could do with it.
To be fair, yeah, I did use the spider a lot. Some of those demon slaves, they were very fun to use.
Yeah,
Even the
yeah.
weapons. The train weapon was probably my favorite one.
See, I,
Um,
I did not like the train.
and it's funny because I wanted to give myself a challenge. I was playing. I had to use Scarborough Fair or Love Is Blue
Hmm.
because it's just funny to me because they're in the first two games because they're the basic weapons, they're
Yeah,
not the best ones, but in this game they made them so useful, so I had to
yeah.
use. Sometimes I will switch weapons in some occasions, but most of the time I was using Scarborough Fair, and
Hmm.
I over time I eventually switched over to the train one.
The
The train
train one is essential to completing some of those challenges, especially those stupid ones where you get sucked into the homunculi like green electric mist.
Oh, don't get me started with that. That was stupid.
Yeah,
I
I
played
hate
a
I hate
level.
those challenges where you have to rely on the train. You have to rely on the
Yeah,
train
yeah.
movement thing. It's just
You were
I
talking
did not
you're
like
talking
it.
the train demon slave. When I was talking about the train, I was talking about the weapon, the
Oh,
chainsaw
oh, oh.
thing.
Okay,
That
okay.
that thing was badass. I was like, "Holy crap." Sometimes I would use the spider weapon once in a while, but it wasn't my go-to. I mean,
See,
I that one's a good one if you're trying to fight it, from a distance, it's
mhm,
very good, but I was trying not to, so and it's sad because I like the train one so much and I was trying to master it,
mhm.
I didn't get much of a chance to try out all the other ones as well.
It makes me not. I tried out what I could, but I just don't have much desire to go back and play this game. That's just kind of the
That's the
where I'm
thing,
at,
I wouldn't
especially with like
mind.
other games coming out
I
soon.
mean, that's the thing, I wouldn't mind going back to it one day just to, try it out because I know gameplay-wise, like I said, it's not perfect, it's very fun, but
Hmm.
I know that there is pain inside me because I know the story is shit.
Yeah. How did you
So,
feel about the collectibles in this? 'Cause there's a
uh
lot more compared to the original too.
The collectibles, I didn't mind finding the animals.
The animals were fine, yeah.
The the food in John's levels, not. I mean, I didn't have a problem with them really,
Uh.
to be.
The one that I did not like, that I hated, was the collectible where you have to collect 5 pieces of one of the chests in a section, because if you die or if you fail, you have to then go back to the chest and watch the unskippable cutscene where it shows you where the 5 pieces are, and it repeats that every single time you retry it, and I just grew so annoyed with it, especially on some of these more challenging ones, that I just like threw my hands up in the air and was just like, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
I just gave up.
yeah, no, that didn't get to me for a while, but I do remember it did get to me after a while. That was
It
one.
was the Chinese level in the volcano, like the lava, that's where it really like that's where it broke my patience, where I just
Not
went, okay, I'm not doing this anymore.
for me. For me, I mean, I was able to tolerate everything, but I did have trouble on one in the desert area because, like, I don't know, the I had to use the spider
Mm-hmm. Those ones
because
are terrible.
everything was on the walls,
Yes.
and then because some of the buildings in the desert were like so like small, it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of hard to keep the spider demon there. So
Yeah.
like the game would like glitch out sometimes, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And sometimes I can't even like I couldn't even get many of them, so that I had to like try over and over again. That was
Yeah.
probably the only time I had trouble mostly.
Yeah. And speaking of like the demon stuff, I've seen some contention around those like kaiju big, mega ultra versions of the summons, like the levels dedicated to them. I think the only one that I did not like was the spider one, where you have to switch between the bird and the spider to fight that one boss. I did not like that one. That one was just, and then that it was timed. I didn't like it.
I didn't
Not
hate
fun.
it, but it did feel off that
Yeah.
I had to switch between two.
I don't like as the spider having to crawl on the enemy. It did something about it, just didn't. I didn't like it. Didn't like the way it felt. It just felt really. It felt like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like getting on the demon and then navigating around it just didn't feel good to me. It just felt annoying to try to pull that off.
No, yeah, and speaking of demon, how did you feel about Cheshire? Because I know
I love
Cheshire is
Cheshire's the design. I love that design. I love that it looks like the
I
cat
know.
from Alice in Wonderland. I
I
love
mean,
that.
yeah, that's why I like that,
Yeah.
but I know she's basically Viola's demon.
Yeah.
Only thing is that we can't control her, which kind of
Yeah, which again, it's like the game plays itself almost when you bring out Cheshire,
yeah,
and then all
Viola,
Viola can do is punch, which is
yeah,
stupid.
like, it makes her feel more like OG Bayonetta a little bit, but
Yeah,
she's just weaker without it. I did not. I
yeah.
don't know. It's another. I don't know. Like I said, Viola's levels are not perfect.
No, to have you go from Bayonetta, where you can control a bunch of demons that all have their own unique abilities, and then it tasks you with playing as this other character that only has one demon with like where the moveset practically plays itself. It's like, okay. Like, no, this is not it, buddy.
No, yeah, I agree.
And then with the kaiju demons, though, I did really like the Godzilla one where you're Gamora. I liked that one. I liked that like rock paper scissors style gameplay that you have with it. It
Hmm.
took a little bit to get used to, but it was fun. I liked it. I know there's some people in the community that really don't like those sections, but I liked them. They were honestly like some of my favorite parts of the game, especially the Madam the Queen Butterfly one, and then the opera one. I thought those were hilarious.
Oh, the
Where it turns
opera.
into a rhythm game all of a sudden with the opera one. That
That
was
was
great. That was probably my favorite part of the game. That whole chapter was great.
especially the part when all the soldiers were dancing Michael Jackson. I was
Yeah,
like,
Michael Jackson style. Yeah, I loved that. And then as far as like things like the final boss, I thought it was okay. And again, this is gonna, by that point though, with that final boss, when you fight Singularity, I simply just did not care by that point. So there was really no like emotional investment in this. It was just like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna fight a boss and then it'll transform and do another thing and
I mean, that's not
whatever.
exactly how I felt. I was about to bring up Lucas fights.
Those were actually some of my favorite ones as far as gameplay.
They
Especially when you
were,
were Bayonetta.
yeah. You only fight him as Bayonetta like once or
Mm-hmm.
twice.
Yeah, but as Luca again, it's when you're Viola again, it's like the the blocking just it just does not feel right when you're fighting a larger enemy, especially one that's as fast as Luca is. It just I don't get it. I don't understand if it's just a frame rate thing or if it's an animation thing or they just simply couldn't get the timing right on it. I don't know. I just never felt quite comfortable using Viola against these like bigger enemies.
No, yeah, that's I still don't.
And then I just I don't know about you, man, but I am so tired of these multiverse stories.
I know you
I'm
are.
tired of it in general, but if you're going to do it, please do not be as dull visually as Bayonetta 3 is with its variety, because when I think multiverse, I think, you know, they could have gone crazy with these ideas and all that, but I just felt like this idea was just wasted with Bayonetta 3. And I think this has to do with the hardware limitations because they can't go full on crazy with it. I'm not a big fan of the game like itself, but I think Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, a game like that, it does a lot more with its like multiverse thing, its concept. But again, that's tied to the PS5. You can do more things with it. But here, unfortunately, with Bayonetta 3, you're stuck to the Switch. So you really can't go balls out crazy with the environments or anything like that. And then every time it would have you play as a multiverse version of Bayonetta, it all just followed the exact same formula where you would use Bayonetta, multiverse Bayonetta, they would get into a boss, and then they would die. And I got so tired of it after a while. And I was so sick of these dull ass semi open world levels where they all just started to feel the same after a while. They just structurally they're all the same. There's only like maybe one or two different mechanics in each one, and you have like a new coat of paint over it that's a different level. But all of them, the New York level, ancient China, the what is it at the, oh, not New York, sorry,
London.
Shibuya, London, oh, Paris, Paris, Shibuya, ancient China, and oh fuck, there's another one, I forget, but
No, New York's not in it.
no, New York's not in it. It's Shibuya, Paris, ancient China, and then that like massive like field area where the portal is to the multiverse. They all feel the same, and because you can't do anything interesting with them because of the hardware limitations, it just becomes a lot more noticeable that it's like, okay, well, it feels very creatively held back for it being a multiverse story. And it I really don't have much to say non story wise anymore. Before we get into the story and the writing, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about, Richard? The floor
In
is open to you, my man.
terms of gameplay,
Yeah, sure. Anything.
not that I can think of, to be honest. I think I'm ready to jump into the story
Okay.
because holy crap, was I
Oh my
pissed.
god. So I'll start with saying that I'm sure there's going to be a point that's brought up. It's been brought up by a lot of people where they go, "Why do you care so much about the story? It's Bayonetta. Bayonetta, it's like a pure gameplay experience. No, the story should not matter. And I'm like, okay, first of all, shut up. Second of all, if Platinum is gonna go through the effort of forcing me to watch these cutscenes with like these new characters and setting up this new generation of Bayonetta, I guess, it better be good. There's nothing worse than feeling like my time is being wasted with this like dumb bullshit, and this story is just awful. It's really it's just I said I don't like this multiverse idea. I thought the idea was badly executed from a level design standpoint, from a pacing standpoint. I think the multiverse, all this shit is stupid from a story standpoint because it means that you can just hand wave away things that happen and say, "Oh, well, this thing is fixed because multiverse," or "Oh, this character appears because multiverse." And I'm so, and this isn't exclusively a Bayonetta 3 problem, but I am just so tired of multiverses. I want multiverses to go away.
Look, plenty of games don't have much of a story. You know, like Mario, for example. It doesn't really have much of a big story. It's always the simple: princess gets kidnapped. He has to go on an adventure to save them.
Yeah,
But you guys have no idea how much a story helps as well.
yeah.
It gives the game more personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like story, like yeah, you can leave it out, but it helps. It doesn't hurt to give a game a good story. It's the
Yeah,
reason why like even games like like God of War. I haven't played Ragnarok, but I know it helps. It
yeah,
helps. Literally, if you can give a game good gameplay. But if you're gonna compare it to like a game that has both a good gameplay and good story, like it's obvious the good gameplay and the good story one's gonna like have a bigger preference and probably a bigger chance of winning game of the year because at least you have two things to enjoy: gameplay, story. Because when I'm playing a video game, yeah, I play these games to get stuff off my mind. It's a good stress reliever because the because life can suck as well, but I want to be entertained as well. Like, give me a like. I want to be jumped into this universe, like, or this story, like, literally, like, entertain me.
yeah. It just, I think I was just dumbfounded by how poorly this whole thing was written, how badly it was structured, how it just like it feels like it was written by a team of people who have never played the first two Bayonetta games. And I know that's not true, but that's the impression that I get playing this.
It was written by 5 people.
That's a problem right there.
I was like, holy crap. And then also, it's like, I know you said this already, but if you're gonna give a game a story, you better make it fucking damn good.
Yeah, it put some effort into it, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
like,
don't just put it in there.
Come on.
Don't put it in there just because it's like every game needs it. I mean, not every game needs it, but if you're gonna put it in,
but
make it fucking good, okay? Seriously.
I'm not even asking for like an amazing storytelling experience. Just at least be competent. Like, be competent. And I think Bayonetta 3 is so lousy with its story. And I guess we'll get into why. I think from like the very beginning, I was just like, I don't care about any of this. What is happening? Why is this new Viola character here? And then I think a problem too with this is that I don't have any investment in these characters. I don't really care about Luca's plot becoming this monster because he can't like face the truth about, or whatever the fuck that whole thing was. I don't care about Singularity. I think Singularity is a terrible villain. He's boring as shit.
Yes.
I don't care about whatever is going on with Viola. And a problem too is that I always felt like I was 5 steps ahead of the story, where I always felt like, okay, I know where this is going. Please God, I hope I'm wrong. And if I'm right, please get to this as soon as possible. Because I think it would have been a lot smarter to save the revelation, that have it occur a lot sooner,
To
to
be
have
fair,
Viola be revealed to be Luca's kid and Bayonetta and Luca's kid.
that was so obvious as soon as
Yeah.
I began using her.
Oh
As soon
yeah.
as I saw her gameplay, before she got her I don't know, her
Hmm.
her actual demon powers where she transforms. I saw that from a mile away from her moveset. Like when she was using the grappling hook, I was like,
Hmm.
oh, that's their daughter. I knew immediately.
I think the fact that the demon's name was named Cheshire, I was like, oh, it's gonna be their daughter. I think I realized that, like, my heart sank when I realized that. I went, oh God, please don't let this be like the end game twist where it's revealed that she's Bayonetta's daughter, or something like that. And they drag it on for so long. It's like in Arkham Knight when it's revealed that Jason Todd is the Arkham Knight, but
Oh,
everybody who's has a functioning brain could probably figure that out like 2 or 3 hours into that game, and they waited nearly the whole game before revealing it and expecting it to be like this big shocking moment. And I was like, are you kidding me?
that
Like,
was
I
still.
already knew this. Like, I knew this before the game even came out.
I mean, that was still pathetic. Like you could have just kept him as Red Hood. It's just
Well, I mean,
disappointing.
it was pathetic with Viola too, because they could have just. I think it would have been so much more interesting if they had just revealed it right off the bat and just said like, "Oh, I'm your daughter," and then they would have to like contend with each other and try to figure out like you could have had this interesting angle of Bayonetta being like, "Really, you're
And
my
then why
daughter?
was
You're like this useless fucking like chick, this like goth punk looking chick. What
but
the
then it
fuck? Or how did I raise this?"
also why was she even hiding the fact that she was their daughter? Like nothing like time space
No, it's
continuum work.
multiverse. It's not time
Anything happened.
travel.
Yeah, like none of that shit happened. So it's like, why keep her like hiding it? Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, there was no reason for it. I'm like, and then also, look, oh my gosh, and then like throughout the entire story, like I I couldn't even get any emotional attachment or anything towards this character
No.
because all I know about her still, even after finishing the game, is that she's from another universe. She came to warn the Bayonetta of whatever universe that is. I don't know, and to warn her that the homunculi are like gonna attack and like she's gonna help them or something. I don't know. Like she's just another person from another universe. Like that's all she is to me.
She
I
has a
don't know.
very generic arc as well, where she is the underdog kid coming in, and she has to do things that proves herself to the established like badass hero. And then at the end, the badass hero acknowledges their skill and gives them respect.
Oh, that
And I
ending.
just, it's like, oh my God. And
The way
then
you
we'll
summarized that,
we'll get to that ending, believe me.
the way you summarized that for me, like that pisses me off even more.
But it's all Viola is just, I'm sarcastic, I'm clumsy, and that's it. That's really all Viola is. That's really all she is. Like I'm not, and again, I'm not asking for like crazy deep characters, but I just don't. I didn't ever found Viola really all that interesting as a character.
No, I didn't either.
And when she gets like stabbed by Luca Beast thing, and then she activates her powers, I was like, oh, how predictable. She has her own like, her own like devil trigger, like Nero. And again, like everything that Bayonetta 3 is doing, Devil May Cry 5 did way better like 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago. Like, we have both like laughed about this, where whenever Bayonetta, and again, the concept of this multiverse from a story perspective is so wasted, because all Bayonetta ever does with these multiverse people are, she finds them, we play as them briefly, and then they die. And all Bayonetta does is just stand there like an idiot and point her guns at Singularity before he kills
That
them.
that was a lack. that killed her character, in my
That was
opinion.
so dumb. Like, once is fine as like a shell shock kind of moment, but again, I don't even think Bayonetta, like the real Bayonetta, the way she's like written in 1 or 2, would do that even
No,
once.
no, she would have just
No,
ran immediately.
she would have tried going for it to like fight them and save
Yeah, I mean,
the
can't she bring out a giant fist and punch him?
yeah.
I'm like, why are you just standing there? The first time I saw that, I'm like, why are you doing that?
I
I'm
know
like,
it's so goofy after a while, where all Bayonetta just does is just shoot them, and then she just stands there with this dumb look on her face while she watches the multiverse Bayonetta be killed, and it just made me go like, you are pathetic. Like, this is not Bayonetta. I'm sorry. Like, in these moments, it's like so out of character for her to do that. But
and
oh my god, and then this singularity, like I don't even know like what is singularity, like where do I don't need an origin story for this character or anything like that, but just make the villain interesting.
they just
And
said they
I
just said we have to find him to like save to stop the homunculi. Only he would know because that's what Viola said.
oh god,
I
that's
see him. I saw his design. He had the design of a similar
well that
that
was
was
you're talking about the doctor that John finds, right?
that one.
That's another thing too, is that it's so obvious at the end that that doctor is
I
the
was just
villain.
I just see him and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, he looks
he's
like a homunculi.
he's probably the villain, and then
Yeah,
he ended up being the thing, and I'm like, oh, I was
it's
right.
obvious. Again, if you have a functioning brain, you can figure it out very quickly. And again, this plays into how I, as a player, you as a player as well, Richard, feel like we are 5 steps ahead of the story in this game. Whereas, like, something like God of War Ragnarok, and again, I won't get into specifics, but it's like I never felt like I have some idea what's going to happen. I always felt like I have no idea where this story is going, and that's interesting. It always was surprising me. And in this game, it was the exact opposite, where I saw a roadmap of where it was going to go, and I was pretty much like bang on the money in most respects. And I hate that I was. And I called it like right down to the, because again, it's the multiverse, and we got to get that like nostalgia bait crap in. They bring in the 2 Bayonettas from the first 2 games, and it's like, okay, well, thanks for reminding me that 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 their soundtracks were a lot better when they briefly played the battle themes from the 1 and 2 when you're fighting as them
Yeah, that
against Singularity. And then thank you for reminding me that these are just much better, more in line with the spirit of Bayonetta than this new one is in some cases.
and also we didn't really talk much about Luca. I know, like you brought him up briefly, but Luca's
Oh no,
I,
we'll get to Luca, believe me.
I I mean, I was about to bring him up, but
Go for it.
okay. I still don't understand why the fuck he turns into this beast
I don't
thing.
get it either.
I know, like I told you, like when I sent you that video, like which I know I'll bring it up more later, but like kind of like explains a bit why he's like that, but it's kind of like I don't know, the way it was explained wasn't very told very well. I don't know, because even throughout the
No.
entire time I was playing through the game, they never I just don't feel like they explained it very
No.
well, or they just don't. I don't know. And then I'm just like, what? And then he would always say like, "Oh no, the voices. I can't
Yeah.
stop them." I'm like, what voices at the end of the game? I'm like,
Yeah.
what voices were you fucking talking
He
about?
he talks about how the voices, he always has listened to the voices throughout his life because they've always like listening to them has always worked out for him in the end. And I'm like, where did this come from? And I don't, I understand. I'm not saying like you, Richard, are like part of the problem. I understand that you're trying to be helpful. I understand that you want to, help me to understand the ending more, but
No, I wanted to
it's,
try to understand it a bit
yeah,
more.
but it's
Like,
like if
and
I have to go to YouTube to watch a fan video about a game, unless it's some like really like thematically complex game, which Bayonetta
Kingdom
3
Hearts.
is not.
Kingdom Hearts.
Well, no, I'm not like lore complex. I'm talking like thematically complex, like one of these like a walking simulator or like an artsy fartsy kind of game where it has like really
Oh,
like themes that are really like obscure or something like that. Like
okay, okay,
if
yeah.
I have to go to YouTube to figure out what happened in a story in like a narrative driven game that's like not exactly straightforward but kind of straightforward like this, then your storytelling just sucks.
Yep,
It's
that
like
is
Final
true.
Fantasy 15 when I was hearing all these people like, well, there are these theories that Noctis like has died multiple times trying to fight against Arden, and I'm like, I don't care because it's not in the game. It's not there, and if it is, it's not told very well.
I know. It's
It's
like I
like
told you.
Destiny, where I have to read all these fucking like manuscripts in the game to understand what the hell is going on as far as the lore of the story.
That's the thing. That's what I was telling you. Like the video that I sent you, those two videos, like it made me. I still don't like everything. It just made me not like them a little less. But obviously, like
I still
because they
dislike
didn't
them.
because they didn't explain them very well.
No, they didn't.
It's still very bad.
Yeah,
Like
it's terrible. And the main thing that drove me just absolutely crazy at the end, that I think just again it's so out of character for Bayonetta, is this whole thing with her and Luca are like, I don't understand where the progression to this point came from, where they're apparently like not exactly soulmates, but like they love each other romantically, and then they have a kid. What
I
what
mean, to be
what?
fair, I mean, like I was telling you, like from the first two games, it's obvious they had some sort of chemistry,
Yes,
but
but
they never they like I told you, they never ever, not even once, ever sat down together and looked through their feelings for each other ever.
I don't even
It
necessarily
never
need
even
that.
got there.
I just need some kind of I because all their relationship really is that he's a goofball. He flirts with her. She kind of flirts back with him and cock teases him, and that's it. Like
It's like
they're
it's
friendly, like they're friends. They're friendly, and their relationship is strengthened throughout Bayonetta 1, because in Bayonetta 1, he doesn't like her because he thinks that she murdered his dad.
yeah, I
And but that
remember that.
relationship grows throughout the game, and it's in a unique way. But by the
Sec-
end, I never thought, oh, these two are in love and they'll have kids. And then even in the second one, like they don't interact anywhere near as much as they did in the first one. But even in the second one, it was kind of the same thing where it's like, oh, they are, they like each other as far as friends. They're like have this like, fun, flirty banter kind of thing. And there's like the part where Loki says like, "Oh, you're the guy who stares at Bayonetta's tits,"
I
and
love.
then in this game, it's like the moment she sees Luca, she's just like, "Oh, it's Luca." Oh, like there's something like weird about the way she looks at him, and then when he turns into that monster, and she's trying to be like, "Shh, everything will be okay," and then like there's this one line that Bayonetta says during her fight with Luca, with Monster Luca, that was so stupid and so out of character for Bayonetta. I don't even like. I all I could think, it's like I thought about it for like a good day or so because it was so stupid. And the line is, so Luca says something along the lines of, "I don't know what's true anymore," and then Bayonetta says, "The truth is that you're a clumsy fool, but one I can't imagine life without." I'm sorry, what? What? Where did this come from? With imagining her life without Luca? Are you kidding me? Like,
It's like I told you, like I'm telling you, like I don't feel like their love ever like progressed.
no, it's like when it goes from where it goes from the first Avengers, where Hulk and Black Widow are like comrades in arms, and then it goes to Age of Ultron, and all of a sudden they're like romantically interested in each other. And I'm like, where the hell did this come from? Where did this come from? It's also like Daredevil the Netflix show where he and Karen, they're friendly in the first season, but like never any indication that they like each other romantically. And then all of a sudden in the second season, it's like they like each other like romantically out of nowhere. I don't get it. Like, and it's the same shit here.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna make a couple fall in love, at least
You got to progress naturally. Like,
that's what I meant. That's what I was
yeah.
trying. That's what I mean when I told you when I told you that they never ever once sat down to reconcile their feelings or anything.
Well,
They never all from the when you brought
I
up it was mostly just playful in the first two games.
yes,
It was more.
There's
It
a
was
big
more,
difference between playful, flirtatious banter and then you are my soulmate. Let's have a baby. There's a big difference between the two.
It's a mind games thing. Like when the girl's playing hard to get. That's kind of
Well, it's Bayonetta owning her sexuality, owning her femininity, which gets like thrown out the fucking window for this game practically. And I don't think Bayonetta, because there's like the whole like hullabaloo about this one review. It's a not a good quote from the review, but this idea that Bayonetta has to say something deeper about femininity and owning one's sexuality. And I don't necessarily believe that Bayonetta has to be deep about any kind of themes it's tackling, but as far as like writing and character wise, it just has to make sense. And it does not make sense here at all. Like how the relationship progresses. It's almost like an entire game's worth of development is missing here between 2 and 3.
That and it just felt rushed.
Yes, it was just all like backloaded at the end. Like I don't have a problem in theory with Bayonetta and Luca hooking up at the end. I don't have a problem with Bayonetta and fucking John hooking up at the end. If that makes more sense to me than this, but I was like, where did this come from and why is it portrayed this stupidly? It's like if Kingdom Hearts, okay, so the way it's done, I think the culmination is a little strange in Kingdom Hearts 3. The way the Sora and Kairi finally like get together, it's a little strange, and it doesn't feel as right as it should because it doesn't have Hayden Panettiere there to interact with Haley Joel Osment. It's not quite there, but at least in like Kingdom Hearts 1, like if Kingdom Hearts 2 had never come out and we never saw like Sora and Kairi like get even friendlier throughout Kingdom Hearts 2 at the end when they finally reunite, when she gives them that hug, it's like you can tell in Kingdom Hearts 1 they never sit down and say, oh, I'm in love with you, I, Sora, am in love with you, and then Kairi goes, oh yes, I am in love with you as well. All it takes is just looks and gestures. It's very show don't tell, and that's all I need. Just show me that. And Bayonetta 1 and 2, it does the thing where it shows me that these two are friendly, they are friends, they flirt with each other, that's fine. And then in Bayonetta 3, it's like, oh, I love you, I can't imagine life without you, let's kiss. What where whoa. Like, hold on.
I mean, they always, like I said, they always had the chemistry, but
yeah, but not as a couple.
I know, that's the
thing. As a couple.
Okay, maybe I'm not seeing something, but like I said, I just felt like if they were really gonna make them in love, like you said, it has to progress naturally. Because even I didn't think it progressed naturally.
And then they try to like have the ending of this game, like the final like emotional punch, be like reliant on this relationship that apparently Bayonetta and Luca have, this like not existent romantic relationship. And I was like, it's just a bunch of like fake sentimental crap where they're like, oh, let's get the audience teary-eyed by shoving in this dumb bullshit that like and all I could think of, I just went, what is happening? Why are Luca and Bayonetta being dragged down to hell, and like they love each other, like, and then all of a sudden it's like Viola is, and now I guess we'll get to this, where Viola all of a sudden is given the mantle of Bayonetta, which I'm sorry, she does not deserve that, and I do not want to play a game with her where she's the main character.
I mean,
I'm
that's the thing
sorry, I
though.
just
Also,
don't.
that's what I was also gonna bring up because I remember the scene where Bayonetta was already about to get dragged to hell, and Luca could have saved her, but he went to go save their own daughter, which I know it
Yeah,
makes
which I
sense in
understand.
a way, but
Yeah.
in this case, like it felt kind of odd because I mean, aren't they?
Again, there's not much development between Luca and Viola either.
Yeah, that's the thing, and there isn't much development between Bayo and her either, and it's like,
There's
okay, but
more in that relationship compared to what we see with her and Luca and Viola and Luca. At least like there's some kind of like it's predictable and it's stupid, but there is an arc there at least with Bayonetta kind of coming to respect Viola for some reason. There's
I guess.
something at least there.
Okay, well, still, and then they're like, "Oh, you saved her daughter," and I'm just like, I never
It's
once
not worth
grew
it.
on. I just never once grew on this character.
No,
What
neither
am
did
I
I.
supposed? Am I supposed to like I don't know, like think this is like I honestly don't know because towards the end, like so much shit was happening. Like I just felt like it was like a mess, kind of like like Star Wars Episode 9 a mess
Yeah,
kind of
I
thing.
got a lot. It's funny that you mentioned that. I got a lot of Rise of Skywalker vibes from
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
I got that towards near the end. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I'm
In
like,
in the
I'm
sense that
just
they had no idea how to end this, and
yeah,
they were
I'm just
just like, "Fuck it," and just threw like a bunch of shit at the wall and to see what stuck. And
yeah,
unfortunately, not a lot of it stuck.
and I'm just like it's just one thing after another. I'm like, what? And then especially the part where like how Luca died and then the other Luke Kai or whatever the fuck it
Oh
is
yeah, that.
first,
Oh,
like saves him and now he can all of a sudden control himself. I'm like, what just happened?
I
I'm like,
again, I feel like I'm missing an entire game's worth of development with
and
this whole thing.
and then the Bayonettas, like
Again, which was
when they
so predictable that those two were gonna come on.
I mean I mean to be fair, you did get spoiled for it, but
Yeah, but it's predictable even because it's the multiverse. Like, of course they are.
I
Why
know.
wouldn't they?
And
It's the obvious thing to do with a multiverse story.
yeah, but still, and then the part where they fuse, I don't know, like
Yeah.
you know how supposedly like she was already beating the fuck up out of Singularity,
Mm-hmm.
and then like he gets all of a sudden strong again, and then he like beats her up,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's like all weak now, and then I'm just like even though she like got beat up, I'm just wondering like wouldn't the other two Bayonettas be out of her by now, or
I
did
don't know.
they? I don't know, because when I was watching that video that I sent you, I mean, like I said, I know it made me hate it a little less, but I know it's still pretty bad. Like
Yeah.
it, I mean, they said that supposedly they just went back to their own universe, which I don't
Which,
know.
yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's off, and apparently the same thing with all the other Bayonettas. When they were all like fighting up in space, like that one scene where they were all
Mm-hmm.
released,
Yeah.
and John, I thought they were all still dead, but I guess apparently they're all like still alive now. I don't fucking
I
know.
don't get it either. It's
And
just
then
dumb.
and then now I guess apparently after like Rodon, like because at the ending you see Rodon talking with Viola.
Yeah.
Apparently, like you mentioned, her dad. So I guess like her dad is somewhat still in hell because like he can like go around as
Sure.
well.
Yeah.
So I don't know unless
I don't
unless
know.
Luca's watching over Bale's body down in hell, which
I
doesn't
don't know.
which doesn't fucking make any sense because I mean John got dragged to hell and Bayonetta had only a limited time
Man,
to save.
they did John so dirty in this game. I swear. Like it like they did her so dirty in this game, even worse than Bayonetta 2 when she dies at the beginning. Like, she not only does John get relegated to like these dumb 2D Metroidvania style levels, she also gets killed by like the obvious twist villain, and then she only is like summoned at the end, and then she like just fucks off at the end when she's her spirit is just used up. I'm just like, oh my god, like why would you do this to John? Why does Luca of all people, like, I understand that Luca, like, people have been like, some reviewers have been like downplaying Luca's involvement with the past two games. Luca is a valuable character, but he is not John. No, 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 no,
No.
no. Like, that, if I had it my way, that would have just been completely reversed, where Luca just gets killed by the obvious twist villain, and then John and Bayonetta have to like fight at the end, and I guess maybe like fall in love. It honestly, between the two, like, what makes more sense to me from like the past, I guess John would be. That's like fine. It makes more sense in my head. I would have preferred that nobody hook up with Bayonetta. Bayonetta should just be like flaunting her tits and ass at like anyone or whatever till the end of time. But this idea that Luca is the love of her life, like, with the information that we've been given, it's just so stupid. It's just stupid and badly written and unnecessary, and it's just there just to be like, oh, it's so emotional. It's like a bunch of fucking bullshit. Just
No, it is
sentimental
bullshit.
crap.
I'm just like, what the fuck? And I, it was.
It's like at the
Oh
end
my
of
god.
Rise of Skywalker, where like everyone's crying and everyone's like celebrating, and you have like Rey and fucking Kylo Ren like make out or whatever, and it's
That
like,
was
who the fuck
stupid.
cares?
Who
Who
else?
cares?
They never. Oh shit. Okay, now we're bringing up Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, no, this is giving me Rise of Skywalker vibes now.
No,
Now
but,
I
well,
can see
you
why
brought it
that
up,
you
and I
brought up.
completely agree with you on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Now that you brought it up, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Just like how Bayo and Luca's love makes no fucking sense. I mean, Kylo Ren and fucking Rey kissing made no
It's
fucking
there again.
sense.
It's like it's there just for the stands,
It's there because people
for the
shipped
fans.
it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
for the shippers.
yeah, I'm just like, this is stupid. I'm like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? Oh my gosh. Okay, look, but then,
I just this story is just awful, and it makes
it,
it kills any interest I have
I
in
know
future Bayonettas, especially
that's
if
the
we're going to be with Viola. No, thank you.
that's the problem. I mean, I wanted, yeah, that's the problem, which is weird because it's funny because you brought up the other time we were talking. You're like, so is Viola back in her own universe, or she is
I don't
just stuck
know.
in there? Because if Luca and Bayo got dragged to hell, like, wouldn't they be in the same universe as hell? I mean, wouldn't they? And which Luca is that one? Is that the Luca from
I don't
Bayo's universe,
know.
or is it from? It's confusing. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is this? It makes no sense. Like, it's weird. It's like, why would you want to be stuck in a different universe with like a different counterpart of somebody you know from your universe?
right.
Like
And
like
again, if I have to go to a fan video to like point out little details to tell me, like, try to explain away some of the confusing shit at the end, I'm no. This is not Return of the Obra Dinn, motherfucker. Just, it's Bayonetta. Just shoot straight with me when it comes to this. The
yes,
storytelling.
and this is
There's
another
no
thing
like
one.
in-depth mystery or wink wink nudge nudge bullshit with one or two. It's all
That's
very straightforward. I don't
yes.
understand why they had to make it all convoluted for this third game. And again,
I'm,
they chose to do this dumb multiverse story, and then they have their little like convenient hand wave excuse where they just be like, "Oh, it's the multiverse. That's why this happened. Why did Bayonetta 1 and 2 show up? Oh, it's the multiverse. Why did this happen? Why does Luca and Bayonetta get dragged to hell, and then Viola ends up in like her own time again? Oh, it's a multiverse. Whatever. Who cares?
yeah,
And it's
well,
stupid, and I hate
which
it.
also brings up another thing I want to bring up. So like Kingdom Hearts, for example, has a convoluted lore, and it keeps getting convoluted with every entry.
Yes.
But
Yes.
here's the thing: even though it gets convoluted as fuck and can be very confusing, they at least Kingdom Hearts actually establishes some stuff as you progress through the
Hmm.
story. Bayonetta 3, it doesn't do that.
There's also a much stronger emotional core at the center of Kingdom Hearts compared to Bayonetta 3.
That too,
Like
like
people can shit all day and night on Kingdom Hearts 3, but I will argue any day of the week that Kingdom Hearts 3's like character interactions and the heartfelt moments that it earns throughout the story are way, 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 way better, way, way, way more deserved than anything in Bayonetta 3.
Which is making me not now that we're talking about this, it's making me go back. It's making me go back now to dislike everything about Bayonetta 3 again after watching those videos because I told you that these videos made me not like them a little less, and
Yeah.
it's weird because like I want to have hope for the future of the series, but I know it. I don't know how the fuck they can fix all this because, like I told you, like I don't want to be playing a game as Viola. She's not.
In a fucked up way, I almost hope this game's sales are soft. I don't wish that upon Platinum as far as like depriving the employees of any work, but as far as like encouraging them to keep this franchise going, I don't want them to do that. I want Platinum to like not do Bayonetta anymore, especially if we're gonna have Viola as the main protagonist from now on, with cameos from Bayonetta and Luca. I don't want it. You can keep it. Go do something else.
Yeah,
And I just for that reason I hope this game does not sell. And again, this is fucked up to say it, but I really hope this game does not sell well, just so it doesn't encourage them to keep this going. I think now that again, this is like a be careful what you wish for kind of thing. I wish Bayonetta 2 had just been the end of it. It's told an interesting, satisfying duology story where the events of 2 set up 1 and then vice versa, and it feels complete. We
yes, it
didn't need
does.
this multiverse bullshit. We didn't need this dumb thing with Luca and Bayonetta hooking up at the end. We didn't need all this Viola crap. Just keep it with 1 and 2. That's all we needed, in my opinion.
Or if we're gonna make a third game, bring fucking Loki back. I mean, at the
Yeah,
end of 2, they teased Loki like in a way that he was still alive. I mean, because that Loki that they teamed up with was from a different timeline. But then they teased because Loki's card came back at the very end. It's like he's like in their timeline as well. So it's like there's a chance he could come back as well. So it's like,
yeah.
why couldn't you do anything with him? Like,
I don't know. I
I
just
don't know. And then
uh,
and then I don't know. This game pissed me off. I was pissed. I
yeah,
was pissed.
I was
I called you that day, like
yes,
after I
and we
finished it.
spoke for like 45 minutes about it.
Yes, I talked to you about it. I called you, like, you were doing your stuff, I called you, I'm like, "Bro, I finished the game last night. This game fucking sucks. I hated it." Like,
I
story was
didn't
shit.
I
I mean,
hated the
obviously
story. I didn't hate
I
the
mean,
game overall.
that's what I meant, but
If
obviously
I
in the
had to like
moment.
give it a number, if you were I don't really do numbers or letter grades or whatever. Like if you put a gun on my head and asked me to like give Bayonetta like a letter grade, I would say a C,
Yeah, that's what I
maybe a
would give it
C
too.
minus.
That
It's
if it
like
was gonna
hovering
be
in that area. I don't think
if
it's
it was
bad overall. I just think it's very disappointing in many aspects, especially its writing, its character development, its storytelling, its pacing. I just don't. Again, it's like gaslighting where all these like 9s and 10s are being thrown at it, and I just go, why? Why? What do you see in this that that I don't? I don't understand it. And again, subjectivity is out there. I get it. People's tastes are different. Different strokes for different folks. Yada yada yada. I get it. But there has to come a point where I think I could argue that semi-objectively this game is not a 9 or a 10. And
to be
I feel
fair.
like I have. Right? I think just the visuals and the performance alone is not worthy of making this like a 9 or a 10.
I mean, that's fine. I mean,
I
like I
think
said,
this game has like soured me on Platinum games in general.
I mean, all
I really am like down on them after
the thing is
this.
the thing is that like they're so ambitious with all these projects, but it's like sometimes they
Their planning is just trash.
I don't have a problem with being too ambitious
Yeah.
and like trying to go up to a hardware's limitations.
Mm-hmm. You gotta know
But
your limits too.
yes,
What's better in the end for the user experience?
exactly. Like
It's
if
okay
they
to
were,
cut content. It's okay to do that.
yeah, but if it's in Bayonetta 3's case, I would have preferred them just not to
No,
make it, or at least lower down the scale, like you said
yeah.
earlier.
I think they could cut out like one or two of these like mega demon things, or just gut the system entirely and just don't do it, just to get the frame rate to like a more stable 60 frames.
Get rid of the Viola levels too while you're at it,
Yeah,
please.
get rid of those. Do like John levels instead.
Yes.
Get rid of those dumb 2D Metroidvania John levels. Get rid of the Viola levels. Just get rid of Viola in general and just have it be John.
She
Like
just back.
you already have like different Bayonettas with these multiverse ones. Why do you then have to throw in Viola to be like again on top of it, like the passing of the torch thing? It feels so like stuffed to the point where it's like they weren't willing to scrap any ideas that just didn't like lay on top of each other properly.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. That's.
So yeah.
Do you have all that you have to say for Bayonetta 3, or is there more? I mean, because I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to,
Yeah,
but
I'm
more.
I'm done talking about this. I like I said, I would give it like a C minus.
If it was letter grades, yes, C. But for some odd reason with numbering, like it's way different for
They're like a
numbering.
5 out of 10. It's like 5 or a 4 out of 10 for me.
I think a 7. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
that's generous.
I'm sorry, but at least gameplay's. I don't know. Maybe
No,
I'm
that's
just not
fine.
the
No,
best. I'm just not the best with the numbering. But like I told you, like the gameplay, while it's not perfect, it's very fun.
no,
It's
I get
just
it.
story's just it's just fucking
Yeah,
crap. Like I got
it's
pissed.
just that. I think if the story was like really good, I would have less of a problem with it overall. It still wouldn't be great. I don't even think it would be very good, but it would at least be like it would be better, definitely. It would be like how I feel about the first game, where I have my problems with the game, but the story, as far as the character interactions, like with Luca and young Cereza and Bayonetta and Enzo and all those characters, like that's not my problem. My problem is just how like odd the structure of that story is in the first game. But as odd as it is, and as like dialogue heavy as it is for explaining stuff, the exposition, it's way better compared to how it does it in Beta 3. It's way, 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 way better. And even there, it's not great. All right, well,
But yeah,
thank you for joining me, man, to talk about
of
it. We
course,
almost
of course. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
yeah, because we always live stream, but we never like talk about a game together like
I
this.
mean,
Alrighty,
yeah,
thank you all for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about Bayonetta 3, and yeah, thank you again, Richard, for joining me. It's always fun.
of course. Now go play Bayonetta 1 and 2.
Yes.
Do not touch 3.
Yeah.
Do not touch
that's
3.
that's the advice. Play Bayonetta 1 and 2, pretend it's a duology, and don't play Bayonetta 3.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing, go play Vanquish. People
Yeah,
don't talk about
Vanquish is very good.
enough. Vanquish,
Much better than Bayonetta 3.
Vanquish is very underappreciated. That game needs a sequel, but it didn't sell very well. So
No, it didn't, unfortunately.
so buy it and help it, guys. Demand for it. Okay. I don't know.
I think that's a
maybe
lost cause at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought about that.
Yeah.
Just go play Vanquish. Vanquish is very good too.
Yeah.
That play those 3.
Yeah. Alrighty. Catch y'all later. Bye.
Bye, guys.